In this series, I'm going to see if I can remove the iPhone from the Apple ecosystem and replace it with an Android device. On this final episode, I'm going to make a decision. Am I stuck handcuffed to the Apple ecosystem? Or can I switch to Android? So far, we've talked about iMessage, the Mac, Apple Watch versus Android watches, AirPods, Apple TV and AirTags, CarPlay versus Android Auto. But it's finally time to come to a decision. Am I going to stay handcuffed to the Apple ecosystem, or can I break free and switch to Android? Let's not waste any more time. This is the finale. Okay, here we are. This is the final episode. It's all come down to this. Now, just so you know, I've recorded this more than once. This isn't the first time I'm doing the final episode, because I keep changing my mind. I mean, even right now, I'm not 100% sure, and I'm so serious about this. So just to recap, we tested out iMessage versus Google Messages, and they do play nicely together, so that was a check. With the Mac, I did lose a lot of features, but the main ones, which were file sharing, screen mirroring, and being able to use Google Messages on the Mac, good enough. Check. Android Auto was a huge failure because it didn't work in my particular car. However, here's the update. I took it to Nissan, they updated the software for my infotainment system, and now it works perfectly. Check. Now, I tested the Apple Watch. Obviously, I can't use the Apple Watch with Android. The Samsung Galaxy Watch, good enough. The Pixel Watch is cool, but won't work with all the Samsung features, but I'll still give it a check. I have my Apple TV plugged into a Google TV. Totally fine, works well, check. AirPods work just fine, even though I can't control the settings within the Samsung device, check. And AirTags I'll have to replace, but that's the least of my concerns. Now, aside from running all these tests about the Apple ecosystem and whether or not I could replace it with an Android device, there was this whole inner struggle going on, which is I'm losing so many things by leaving Apple. What am I actually gaining? So I actually worked with ChatGPT to create a spreadsheet of iPhone versus Samsung. I had over 70 items on the list and decided if it was better on Apple, better on Samsung, a tie. And then I also had importance level like high, medium, and low. And after going through the results with ChatGPT, who created me a whole pie graph, Apple won by more than 60%. But still, the emotional part of me wanted to switch. I ended up actually returning the Samsung device, but then after Nissan fixed my Android Auto issue, I repurchased it and I got really determined. I customized every little thing about that phone. I switched my service over and I became an Android user. It was great. I made peace with the whole ecosystem, but after making the decision and completely switching over, there were some issues. So maybe I've been focusing on the wrong thing, because the purpose of this series was to see if I could pull the iPhone out of the Apple ecosystem and replace it with an Android device, more specifically a Samsung phone. And technically, that was a success. I can do that. So my focus shifted to what am I actually gaining by switching to the Samsung phone versus what am I losing by dropping the iPhone. So let's start off with what I'm losing. Native visual voicemail with voice transcription. I decided to see if my voicemail greeting carried over, so I pressed the voicemail button, and it starts calling my voicemail like it's 2007 or something. Like, what? And then I remembered from back in the day that Samsung isn't always compatible with carriers' visual voicemail. And you know what that is, right? On your iPhone, if you have a voicemail, it's just there and you can press play and you can actually read it. It's transcribed for you. Not like the old days where you're literally calling a voicemail and it's like, press 1 for saved messages. Like, what? And yeah, there is a third-party app, but that's just weird and the app's not that good. It doesn't get good ratings. If you want transcriptions, you have to pay for the premium version. And Samsung doesn't even have the ability to use native visual voicemail unless it's with maybe a couple of main carriers. End of the world? No, but it's still something I'm losing and something that's better on Apple. And then there's certain apps that I use all the time. Like I have the Ecobee app to control my thermostats. Every time I want to turn the AC on or off, it just takes forever to load. Apple is instant. The ChatGPT app is something I use every day, and it doesn't look like it's been updated on Samsung. And I knew this going in, but developers update iOS apps with priority over Android. It's just a thing. When I go to select text, I have to actually open up a separate window to select text in, which used to be on the iPhone, but they got rid of that months ago. And on iPhone, you could select text right in the same screen, which is logical. The Mac, yes, I was able to replace iCloud with Google Drive, and that's fine. I was able to screen mirror, and that's fine, but I still am losing the native Files app, and AirPlay, and Airdrop, and copy and paste between devices, and a native iMessage app, a native Photos app, the ability to unlock my Mac with my Apple Watch, and the list goes on and on and on. End of the world? No, but I'm still losing all these conveniences. Android Auto works well, but CarPlay just is better. It works better. Like, why does Google Maps on CarPlay display the speedometer next to the speed limit, but it doesn't work on Android Auto? It's a Google product. It doesn't make any sense. And when I'm almost home, my garage door controls appear on CarPlay. That's cool. Apple Watch. The Apple Watch is just plain better than the Galaxy Watch in so many different ways. And then there's Apple Wallet, which is so much better than Samsung or Google's versions. And not necessarily for payment, but for other things. Like I have my supermarket's frequent shopper card, which I was just able to tap a button and add it to the Apple Wallet. Plus, when I go to the supermarket, it knows I'm there and puts that card on the lock screen so I could just scan it right away. The Android wallets didn't even have the ability for me to instantly add it to the wallet. I had to manually take a picture of the card or type the numbers in. Same thing with boarding passes. You just go to the airport, your boarding passes are on your lock screen. I have my digital ID in my Apple Wallet, something that wouldn't work properly with Samsung. It got rejected for some reason. iMessage. Yes, iMessage and Google Messages now play nice because of RCS compatibility, but iMessage is so much better. It's such a better app. It has more features. It's more polished. More people use it. It's amazing. I'm losing FaceTime, and yes, I use that to communicate with my family. And sure, there's replacements. There's WhatsApp. There's Google Meet. But everybody has iPhones. Everybody has FaceTime, and it's a great app that I'd be losing. Things like native MagSafe without having to use a special case for it. Being able to use accessories like my Anker Cube 3-in-1 charger, and of course standby mode when I charge my phone in landscape. Necessary? No, but it's something I like that I'm losing. And then there's the camera performance. Samsung has some well-documented issues about taking blurry motion photos, and I had a couple of really bad ones. I also took some video that was very jittery while I was zooming, which is another known thing, but it's really just because the camera is switching lenses while it's zooming. And although both phones do it, it was a little more drastic on the Samsung, I thought. But I do believe that the Apple camera does perform better both with photo and video with daily, everyday use. And aside from the photo quality, which is what everybody focuses on, the camera app, nobody talks about the camera app. The Apple camera app is just the best app. It's so awesome. And it's so easy to just whip out your phone with one hand and start snapping pictures. It's a great camera. And then there's Siri. There seems to be a lot of negativity surrounding Siri, which I don't agree with. If I talk to my phone or my watch and ask it to control the phone, the watch, or any of my smart home devices, it does a great job. It understands me, it listens, and anyone who has Google Home or Nest Hub devices around their house knows that Google Assistant gets dumber and dumber every year. If you don't believe me, go on Reddit. It's the Google Home Reddit, and every post is, why does Google get dumber and dumber every year? And if you think Gemini is great, I disagree. I think Gemini is the worst AI assistant I've ever used by far. And this is somebody who uses ChatGPT quite a bit. Google and Samsung have some really great AI photo editing, video editing, sound editing, things like that. I definitely appreciate those things. But Gemini as a digital assistant is garbage. I picked up the Samsung device and asked Gemini to tell me what my schedule was, and it only read my main calendar. I have like 6 or 7 different calendars, and it just read my main one, which is a fraction of it. Siri pulled up the whole day with all my events. Oh, and it just did it on my watch because I mentioned it. I asked Gemini to compare the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra with the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL, and it tells me it's just going to give me rumors and speculation because neither device has actually been released yet. What? I'm sorry, the Samsung device was released months ago, and the Google device was released last year. And from my experience, Gemini is broken, it gets everything wrong, and as far as a large language model, it's complete crap. So then the question is, What am I actually gaining from switching to Samsung? Well, I love the big, beautiful screen. I love the ability to customize every single aspect of my home screen and my lock screen and the audio, and everything's so easily accessible. You could use one-handed operation very easily without needing your second hand and without struggling. Another cool feature is live translation. Android's able to translate WhatsApp conversations, and I'm in an entire group where the majority of people in the group do not speak English. On Galaxy and Pixel devices, I could just turn on live translation and it translates every single thing in the entire conversation instantly, and then when I type back on my keyboard, it translates my text to the other language. That's amazing, and Apple doesn't do this. They're coming out with it for iMessage and Apple's apps, but people overseas typically use WhatsApp, and it's a feature that you can't get on Apple, unfortunately. And of course, Android phones have better AI photo and video editing tools, although you could probably just download third-party apps. So yeah, I really do appreciate Android's and Samsung's ability to edit photo and video. Their AI editing tools are great, much better than Apple's. And Samsung could even edit audio on your videos. It's so cool. Removing voices and wind and background sounds. But I'm sure you could get third-party apps for something like that. So yeah, it mostly comes down to customization for me. And I can't tell you how much I love my Samsung device, the home screen, the lock screen, all the little things that I've customized. I put a little sticker of Daisy on my lock screen. And that's my favorite thing, and that's what I hate about iPhone. Even though Apple's allowed for more customization of the home and lock screen over the last few years, and they continue to do so, but it's not enough. I hate that my iPhone looks just like everybody else's iPhone. And that's really my whole gripe with Apple. That's what makes me want to leave in the first place. I want to be in complete control over my home screen and my lock screen. I want to make it look and feel and perform exactly the way I want it to. I want it to be unique, but I can't. I can only adjust little things, and aside from that, it has to look just like everybody else's iPhone. And that's what I hate so much, and I wish Apple would change. And that's the thing. Is it really worth me switching just to be able to customize my home screen and lock screen and translate some WhatsApp conversations? And the answer, unfortunately, is no, especially when I'm going to lose so much. Now, in the context of this series, I asked the question, would I be able to remove my iPhone from the Apple ecosystem and replace it with a Samsung Galaxy device? And the answer was yes, I did. I switched, even though it was for a week or so, and then I'm switching back. But that test, in my opinion, was a success. However, after successfully making the switch, then I started realizing all of the things that I was going to lose. After putting the two devices head to head, I'm going to have to stick with Apple. Well, that's the end of this series. It's been quite the journey for me. If you followed along, I really appreciate it. Daisy and I would love it if you subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it.